Imagine this. I'm scrolling through my phone late one night, heart pounding, when a single text lights up the screen like a bomb. Babe, we need to talk. But attached? A photo of her, my so-called ride or die, tangled up in sheets with some smug dude from her office. Me? A black king building my empire from nothing. The privileged Caucasian girl who swore she'd never stray. Oh, but she did. And what I did next? 7 savage moves that shattered her world, rebuilt mine, and left her begging on her knees. Stick around. You won't believe what happened in number 4. What's good, family? It's your boy Jamal here. Where y'all watching from today? Atlanta? NYC? London? Drop it in the comments. How y'all holding up? If you're new here, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button right now with notifications on. We're building a real community talking real life, real pain, and real comebacks. Let's get into this story. It was 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday when my world cracked wide open. I remember that time because I'd been staring at the ceiling for hours, unable to sleep, this gnawing feeling in my gut that something was off. You ever have that? That instinct that screams at you but you ignore it because you don't want to be that guy? That insecure, paranoid dude who checks his girl's phone? I was sitting in my apartment, this small but clean spot in a decent part of town that I'd worked my tail off to afford. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. Every piece of furniture, every plate in the kitchen, every motivational poster on the wall, I'd earned it. The laptop on my desk was still warm from another late night grinding on my startup, a digital marketing agency I'd built from scratch with nothing but hustle and a dream. 3 years of 18-hour days, cold pizza dinners, and networking events where I was often the only black face in the room. My phone sat on the nightstand, screen down, like it was mocking me. All evening, Emily had been distant. Short texts. No emojis. No baby, no babe, just yeah and okay and I'm tired. We'd been together for 2 years. 2 years of me opening up, letting my guard down, showing her parts of myself I'd kept locked away since I was a kid dodging trouble in the old neighborhood. 2 years of her posting us all over Instagram with captions about love transcending everything, about how we were proof that connection matters more than background. I grew up in a place where making it out was the exception, not the rule. My mom's worked 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. I wore the same pair of Jordans for 3 years straight in high school, cleaning them every night so nobody would notice. When I got that full ride to state college, I cried. Not because I was soft, but because I knew what it meant. A way out. A way up. Emily didn't know that struggle. Not really. She grew up in the suburbs with a pool in the backyard and a trust fund she never talked about but I knew existed. Her parents were the type to smile at me during Sunday dinners but I could see the questions behind their eyes. Is he good enough? Is this just a phase? But Emily, man, she made me believe she was different. She'd lean into me at parties when her friends made slick comments. She'd hype up my business on her stories. She'd trace her fingers across my face late at night and tell me I was going to change the world. So why couldn't I sleep? Why did my chest feel tight every time I thought about her? I picked up the phone. My thumb hovered over her name in my messages. Don't be that guy, I told myself. Don't be insecure. She loves you. She chose you. But then it buzzed in my hand. The screen lit up with her name. Emily. And below it, a message that made my blood run cold. Babe, we need to talk. 6 words. That's all it took for my stomach to drop. But it was the attachment that destroyed me. A photo. Her. Blonde hair spilled across white pillows I didn't recognize. Bare shoulders. And next to her, some clean-cut white dude with his arm draped over her like he owned her. Both of them asleep, peaceful, like they hadn't just blown my entire life apart. My hand started shaking. I zoomed in on the photo, praying I was seeing it wrong, praying it was some sick joke. But no. That was her necklace, the one I'd saved up for 3 months to buy her. That was her tattoo on her ribcage, the little bird she got after her grandmother passed. That was my girl. My future. My everything. The phone slipped from my hands onto the bed. I couldn't breathe. The room started spinning. 2 years of loyalty, of grinding to build something worthy of her, of defending our relationship to people who said it wouldn't last, and this is what I got? A late-night photo of her wrapped up with another man? I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something. I wanted to call her right then and demand answers. But instead, I just sat there in the dark, feeling something inside me crack and then harden. Something cold. Something sharp. Because in that moment, scrolling back through our text thread with fresh eyes, I started seeing things I'd missed. The way she'd been working late more often. The new lingerie I'd never seen her wear for me. The sudden interest in her appearance before meetings. The defensiveness when I'd ask simple questions. I opened Instagram. Went to her profile. There we were, smiling in her latest post from 3 days ago. Caption, blessed beyond measure with this king. Heart emoji. Prayer hands emoji. 247 likes. Lies. All of it. Lies. My phone buzzed again. Another text from her. Jamal, please. I can explain. Explain? Explain what? How you ended up naked in another man's bed. How you looked so peaceful sleeping next to him while I was here, alone, building a future for us. But I didn't respond. Not yet. Because something was happening inside me. The hurt was still there, sharp and vicious, but underneath it, something else was growing. Something calculating. Something patient. If Emily wanted to play games, if she wanted to throw away everything we'd built, if she thought she could just apologize her way out of this and I'd come running back like some desperate fool, she had another thing coming. I was Jamal, right? I'd survived a neighborhood that ate people alive. I'd built a business from nothing. I'd earned every single thing I had. And I'd be damned if some privileged girl who didn't know real struggle was going to break me. So I took a screenshot of that photo. Saved it. Then I started digging through her social media, her tagged photos, mutual friends pages. And that's when I found them. Breadcrumbs. Little hints of a trail I'd been too trusting to notice. What would you do if the person you loved most stabbed you in the back like that? Would you cry? Would you beg? Would you forgive? Not me. I had 7 savage moves planned. 7 ways to make her feel every ounce of pain she'd caused me. 7 steps to rebuild myself while watching her world crumble. And trust me, what I did in number 4. You won't believe it. Let me take you back to the beginning, because you need to understand who I was before Emily, to really get why this betrayal cut so deep. I grew up in West Baltimore, the kind of neighborhood where sirens were the soundtrack to your childhood and making it to 18 without a record was considered an achievement. My pops bounced when I was 7, left my mom's with 3 kids and a stack of bills she couldn't pay. I watched her work herself to the bone, cleaning offices downtown during the day, stocking shelves at Target at night. Some mornings I'd wake up and find her asleep on the couch in her work uniform, too tired to even make it to her bedroom. That's where my hunger came from. Watching her sacrifice everything and still barely scrape by. I promised myself I'd never live like that. Never struggle like that. So while my boys were on the corners, I was in the library. While they were chasing girls and getting into trouble, I was teaching myself code, watching YouTube tutorials on digital marketing, reading every business book I could get my hands on. My best friend Tyler was the only one who got it. Tyler McFly, we called him, after Back to the Future, because the brother was always talking about the future like it was already here. We met freshman year of high school, both of us in the advanced placement classes, both of us catching heat for acting white just because we wanted more than what the streets offered. Tyler was the funny one, always cracking jokes to diffuse tension, but sharp as they come. When I started my business 3 years ago, he was my first call. Didn't even hesitate. Quit his job at Best Buy to help me build something from nothing. My sister Aisha was my protector. 2 years older than me, she dropped out of college when Moms got sick to help take care of the family. She worked as a nurse now, tough as nails, didn't take nonsense from anybody. When I told her I was dating Emily, her first words were, "She know where you come from. She ready for all of you, not just the polished version?" I should have listened. I met Emily 2 years ago at a networking event downtown. One of those mixers where startups pitch to investors, everyone in blazers pretending they're closer to success than they really are. I was there pushing my agency, trying to land my first major client. She was there representing her father's real estate development firm, looking like she'd stepped out of a magazine in a cream dress that probably cost more than my rent. She approached me first. That's what got me. This beautiful white woman with blonde hair that caught the light just right, designer heels, confidence that came from never having to worry about money, and she walked right up to me and said, "Your pitch was the only one that didn't sound rehearsed. Tell me more." We talked for 2 hours. She was charming, easy to talk to, asked questions that made it seem like she really cared. Got my number before the night ended. Texted me the next day. Within a week, we were having dinner at places I couldn't afford but she'd casually pay for without making me feel small about it. The early days were magic. She'd show up at my apartment with takeout after I'd been working 18-hour days. She'd proofread my proposals, introduce me to people in her network, post about my business on her Instagram like she was my personal hype woman. When we went out, she'd grab my hand in public, kiss me in front of her friends, make sure everyone knew we were together. For a brother who'd grown up being told he'd never amount to nothing, having someone like her choose me felt like validation. But there were signs. Little things I ignored because I wanted it to work so badly. Like how she'd sometimes correct my grammar in front of her friends, laughing like it was cute. Or how she'd suggest I dress differently for certain events, nothing too urban, you know. Or how when we'd argue, she'd throw around phrases like "you're being aggressive" or "calm down" in a way that felt loaded. Or how she never wanted to spend time in my neighborhood, always had an excuse when I suggested we visit my mom's. Her parents were polite but distant. Her father, Richard, owned half the commercial real estate in the city. Old money, country club membership, the whole package. Her mother, Catherine, was the type who'd smile and ask about my business while mentally calculating whether I was worthy of her daughter. At family dinners, I'd catch them exchanging looks when I'd talk about my background, like they were waiting for me to mess up, to prove I was exactly what they feared. Emily would defend me, though. That's what kept me hooked. She'd argue with her parents, tell them they were being judgmental, post long captions about love transcending race and class. She made me feel seen. Protected. Like maybe I'd finally found someone who got it, who got me. Before we continue, can I ask a tiny favor? Hit that subscribe button. It means more than you know. Because stories like this, raw and real, they need to be heard. And your support keeps me going. Tyler tried to warn me 6 months in. We were at my apartment, him helping me debug a website, when he just came out with it. Bro, I'm not feeling Emily. Something's off. She loves the idea of you more than she loves you. I got defensive. What's that supposed to mean? He shrugged, eyes still on the screen. She loves telling people she's dating you. Loves the optics. The Instagram likes. The woke points. But does she love you? Like, the real you? The you that grew up poor? The you that still sends half your paycheck to your moms? The you that's scared sometimes that all this could disappear? I told him he was tripping. Told him he was jealous. We didn't talk for 2 weeks after that. Aisha was less subtle. We were at Sunday dinner at Mom's place when she pulled me aside in the kitchen. That girl's gonna hurt you. I can feel it. She's not built for the long haul with a man like you. Why? Because I'm not good enough for her? Aisha grabbed my face, forced me to look at her. No, dummy. Because you're too good for her. She's playing dress up with struggle. You lived it. When things get hard, when the Instagram filters come off, she's gonna fold. But I didn't listen. I was too far gone. Too invested in the fantasy of us. Too proud to admit that maybe, just maybe, I was trying to prove something to everyone who'd ever doubted me by making it work with her. My deepest desire had always been simple. Build something that mattered. Create generational wealth. Have a family with someone who truly saw me, not just the entrepreneur or the token or the success story, but me. The scared kid from Baltimore who still had nightmares about being broke. The man who cried when he landed his first $50,000 contract. The brother who wanted nothing more than to make his moms proud. I thought Emily was that person. I really did. My business was growing. We'd just landed 3 major clients, revenue was climbing, and I was finally starting to feel like I'd made it. Emily was right there, posting about my wins, showing up to my pitch meetings, playing the supportive girlfriend role perfectly. On paper, we were the dream couple. Interracial love winning. Overcoming odds. Building together. But underneath? I was exhausted. The code switching, the constant proving myself in her world, the subtle ways she'd make me feel like I needed to be less of myself to fit into her life. I started noticing how she'd only post certain photos of us, the ones where I was dressed up, clean-cut, respectable looking. Never the ones of us in my neighborhood, or at the hole-in-the-wall spots I loved. And the sex had become routine. Scheduled. Perfunctory. Like another item on her to-do list. 3 months before that photo blew up my phone, I'd started feeling the distance. She was working late more often. Taking calls in other rooms. Her phone was suddenly always face down. When I'd try to talk about it, she'd flip it on me. You're being paranoid. You're too busy with work to notice me anyway. Why are you so insecure? So I buried myself in work. Told myself I was tripping. Told myself successful relationships required trust. Told myself I was being the stereotypical jealous black man and I needed to do better. Meanwhile, Emily was building a whole separate life. One I knew nothing about. The morning after I got that photo, I didn't sleep. Couldn't. I just sat there in the dark, staring at that image until my eyes burned, trying to make sense of something that made no sense at all. By the time the sun came up, I'd made my decision. No yelling. No begging. No dramatic confrontation where I'd give her the satisfaction of seeing me break. I was going to handle this with cold precision. At 8 a.m., my phone rang. Emily. I let it go to voicemail. She called again. Voicemail. Then the text started flooding in. Jamal, please pick up. I know you're upset. Let me explain what happened. It's not what it looks like. Baby, please. I'm coming over. That last one made me move. I wasn't about to let her control the narrative in my own space. So I texted back, simple and clean, meet me at Morrison Park. 1 hour. Come alone. I got there early, sat on a bench near the fountain, watching joggers pass by living their normal lives while mine was imploding. When Emily pulled up in her white BMW, the one Daddy bought her for graduation, I felt my jaw clench. She looked rough. No makeup, hair in a messy bun, wearing sweatpants and a hoodie. Playing the part of the remorseful girlfriend perfectly. She sat down next to me, tried to grab my hand. I pulled away. Jamal, I'm so sorry. Her voice was shaky, eyes red like she'd been crying. Maybe she had been. Didn't matter. Who is he? She hesitated. His name is Brandon. Brandon Whitmore. He works in acquisitions at my dad's firm. How long? What? How? Long, Emily. She looked away, toward the fountain. For months. For months. A third of our relationship. While I was grinding to build a future for us, she was building a whole separate life with some corporate dude named Brandon. Why'd you send me the photo? Her face crumpled. I didn't. He did. This morning. He sent it to you from my phone while I was asleep. He said if I didn't end things with you, he'd tell everyone. His wife. My parents. Your business contacts. Everyone. Wait. Wife? Emily nodded, tears streaming now. He's married. I didn't know at first, I swear. By the time I found out, I was already in too deep. So let me get this straight. You've been sleeping with a married man from your dad's firm for 4 months. He sent me proof. And now you're here because you got caught, not because you felt guilty. That's not fair. Not fair? Not fair? My voice rose despite my best efforts to stay calm. A couple of joggers glanced our way. I lowered my tone, leaned in close. You threw away everything we built for what? Some suit with a wife and a career daddy handed him? Was I not enough? Not rich enough? Not white enough? What was it, Emily? Don't make this about race. Everything's about race when you're me. You think I don't know what this looks like? Black man not being good enough for the white girl, even when he's doing everything right. You think I don't hear the whispers from your friends, the side eyes from your parents? I worked twice as hard to prove I deserved you, and this whole time you were playing me like I was some charity case project. People were definitely staring now. Emily tried to touch my face. Jamal, please. I made a mistake. A horrible mistake. But I love you. I choose you. We can work through this. And that's when she said the thing that made my blood boil. The thing that told me everything I needed to know about who she really was. Besides, you work all the time anyway. I barely see you. I got lonely. I needed attention. Brandon was there. Can you really blame me? Settle in, get comfortable, and if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that. You're safe here. Because what I'm about to tell you next, you need to hear. I stood up. Stared down at her. She looked so small in that moment, so pathetic, trying to blame her betrayal on my work ethic, on the hustle that I needed to survive in a world that was built to keep me at the bottom. We're done. Jamal, no, wait. We're done, Emily. Completely. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't come by my place. As of right now, you don't exist to me. You don't mean that. I've never meant anything more in my life. She grabbed my arm as I turned to leave. Her nails dug into my skin. You'll regret this. You'll realize you threw away the best thing that ever happened to you. Nobody's gonna love you like I did. Nobody's gonna take a chance on you the way I did. And there it was. The truth underneath all the Instagram captions and the woke posturing. She thought she was doing me a favor by being with me. Like I should be grateful that she deigned to date below her station. I pulled my arm free, looked her dead in the eye. The best thing that ever happened to me was learning I deserved better than you. Then I walked away. Didn't look back. Didn't respond when she called after me. Just got in my car and drove, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white, trying not to let her see me cry. But once I got home, alone in my apartment, I let it out. All of it. The hurt, the betrayal, the embarrassment, the rage. I broke down completely, sobbing like I hadn't since I was a kid. Because it wasn't just about her cheating. It was about everything she represented. The validation I'd been seeking. The proof that I'd made it. The future I'd built in my head. All of it, gone. Tyler showed up an hour later. I don't know how he knew, but he had a sixth sense for when I was going through it. Let himself in with the spare key I'd given him, found me on the floor in the living room, surrounded by photos of Emily and me that I'd ripped off the walls. He didn't say anything at first. Just sat down next to me, handed me a beer, and waited. Finally, I told him everything. The photo. The confrontation. The 4 months. Brandon. The wife. Emily's excuses. Her parting shot about nobody loving me like she did. When I finished, Tyler was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "You know what we're gonna do?" "What?" "We're gonna make her regret the day she ever thought she could play you." "Tyler, I just want to forget about her." "Nah, bro. You can't just walk away and let her win. She's probably already spinning the story to her friends, making you the bad guy, the jealous black boyfriend who couldn't handle her success. You gotta show her, show everyone, who really lost here." I shook my head. I'm not about to stoop to her level. Tyler grabbed my shoulders, forced me to look at him. This ain't about stooping. This is about justice. This is about making sure she understands that actions have consequences. You think she's gonna learn anything if you just quietly disappear? Now. She's gonna do this to the next brother, and the next one after that. You gotta make a statement. Something in his words resonated. Not the revenge part, not yet, but the idea that I couldn't just roll over and take this. That I had to stand up for myself, reclaim my dignity, show her and everyone else that Jamal Wright wasn't someone you could just discard. Before we dive deeper, if you're new here, hi love. I'm glad you made it. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss stories that touch the heart. Because what happens next? It's a masterclass in taking your power back. That night, while Emily was blowing up my phone with apologies and explanations and promises to do better, I was making a plan. Not a revenge plan, not yet. Just a plan to move forward. To heal. To rebuild. But then, scrolling through social media at 2 a.m. because I couldn't sleep, I saw it. Emily had posted a long caption about forgiveness, growth, and moving forward from mistakes. About how relationships take work and sometimes people stumble but real love persists. The comments were full of her friends supporting her, telling her she deserved better, that whoever hurt her wasn't worth it. She'd flipped the script. Made herself the victim. Made me the villain. And just like that, the plan changed. Revenge move number 1 was simple. Silence. Complete and total ghosting. Emily was used to getting her way, used to men chasing her, begging for her attention. So when I didn't respond to any of her calls, texts, emails, or social media messages, when I blocked her on everything and disappeared from her life like she'd never existed, it drove her crazy. I know because Tyler, who hadn't blocked her friends, would send me screenshots. Emily spiraling in group chats. Is he okay? Has anyone heard from him? I just want to talk. This silent treatment is immature. Let her spiral. She wanted attention? She could get it from Brandon and his wife. But staying silent was harder than I expected. Every day, I wanted to reach out. To yell at her. To demand answers to questions that kept me up at night. Did you ever really love me? Was any of it real? How could you do this to me? Tyler kept me grounded. We turned my pain into productivity. Hit the gym every morning at 5 a.m., lifting until my muscles screamed, running until my lungs burned. Physical pain to distract from the emotional kind. Within 2 weeks, I dropped 8 pounds and put on visible muscle. Tyler would spot me, push me, remind me that every rep was rebuilding not just my body but my confidence. You know what's crazy? Heartbreak is the best workout motivation. You should see the before and after. Actually, if you subscribe to this channel, I might just drop that footage in a future video. Don't be shy, join us. Revenge move number 2 hit Emily where she lived. Literally. See, when we first started dating, she'd slowly migrated her stuff into my apartment. Clothes in my closet. Toiletries in my bathroom. Her expensive shoes by the door. Her artwork on my walls. Little by little, she'd made my space ours, and I'd loved it at the time. Proof that she was serious about us. Now? It was all just evidence of a lie. So one Saturday morning, I bagged it all up. Every dress, every pair of heels, every piece of jewelry she'd left behind. The photos of us. The gifts she'd given me. Everything. Then I called her. She picked up on the first ring. Jamal? Oh my God, I've been trying to reach you for weeks. I need you to come get your stuff. Today. I'll leave it outside my door. Don't knock. Don't try to see me. Just take it and go. Wait, can we please just talk? I hung up. Left 13 garbage bags outside my apartment door. Went to Tyler's place for the day. Emily did show up. I know because my neighbor, Ms. Patterson, told me later. Said Emily stood outside my door for 20 minutes, knocking, crying, begging me to open up. Then she loaded all those bags into her BMW, tears streaming down her face, while people in the building watched and whispered. Good. Let her feel a fraction of the humiliation I felt. But Emily wasn't going down without a fight. A few days later, mutual friends started reaching out. Man, Emily's really torn up about this. Maybe you should hear her out. Everyone makes mistakes. She really loves you, you know. I shut that down quick. Told them if they wanted to keep being friends with me, they'd drop it. Some did. Some chose her side. That hurt too, losing people I thought had my back, but it showed me who was real and who was just around for the show. My business started demanding more attention, which was good. A distraction. We had 3 major pitches coming up, potential clients that could double our revenue. I threw myself into work, 14-hour days again, but this time it felt different. Before, I was building for us. Now, I was building for me. And that clarity, that singular focus, made me sharper. Hungrier. We landed all 3 clients. Tyler and I celebrated at our favorite wing spot, the hole-in-the-wall place in our old neighborhood where nobody knew about Emily or cared about my broken heart. Just good food, cold drinks, and people who'd known me since I was a kid trying to make something of himself. You glowing up, bro, Tyler said, wiping sauce off his fingers. I mean literally. You look good. Business is booming. Emily's probably sick watching you thrive without her. I'm not doing this for her. I know. That's why it's working. Revenge move number 3 was petty, I'll admit it. But sometimes petty feels good. Emily had left her car at my place once, a few months back, when we'd gone out of town together. I still had the spare key she'd given me. So one night, Tyler and I took a little drive to where she'd parked on the street near her apartment. We didn't damage anything. Didn't key it or slash tires or anything that could get us in legal trouble. We just bought $20 worth of the cheapest, smelliest fish we could find. Stuffed it up in the vents, under the seats, in every crevice we could reach. Then we left the car exactly as we found it. 2 days later, Tyler showed me her Instagram story. A video of her gagging, trying to figure out where the smell was coming from. The caption, "My car smells like death and I don't know why. Someone help." The comments were full of suggestions. Dead animal in the engine? Something stuck to your tires? Maybe it's mold? Tyler and I laughed until we cried. Childish? Absolutely. Satisfying? You have no idea. But the high from those little victories was temporary. At night, alone in my apartment that no longer had any traces of her, the pain would come roaring back. I'd lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of our relationship. Trying to pinpoint when it went wrong. When she decided I wasn't enough. When Brandon became more appealing than the man who'd given her everything. The worst part? Part of me still loved her. Still wanted her. Still woke up reaching for her side of the bed only to find it empty. That's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't kill love instantly. It poisons it slowly, turns it into something bitter and sharp that cuts you from the inside. Aisha noticed. She showed up at my place unannounced one evening, took one look at me, and shook her head. You losing weight? You look tired. When's the last time you ate something that wasn't delivered? I'm fine. Boy, don't lie to me. You're hurting. And that's okay. You're allowed to hurt. But you can't let this destroy you. I'm not. I'm handling it. By playing petty games? By hiding from your feelings? By working yourself to death? She sat down next to me, softened her voice. Jamal, I know you. You're not okay. And you don't have to be. That girl broke your heart. She betrayed your trust. You're allowed to be a mess for a while. I can't afford to be a mess. I've got a business to run. Bills to pay. People depending on me. And you've got people who love you. People who want to help carry this weight. Let us in. But I couldn't. Didn't know how. I'd spent my whole life being strong, being the one who figured it out, who persevered. Falling apart felt like failure. Like proving everyone right who'd ever doubted I could make it. Then Emily tried a different approach. She started showing up at places she knew I'd be. Networking events. The coffee shop where I worked sometimes. Even the gym. Always looking perfect, always with those sad eyes, always trying to catch me alone. I avoided her every time. Walked out of rooms when she entered. Changed my schedule. Blocked her new number when she'd text from it. I wasn't ready to face her. Wasn't sure I'd ever be ready. But she was persistent. One night, after a particularly successful client meeting, I came home to find her sitting outside my apartment door. How'd you get in the building? Mrs. Patterson remembered me. Let me in. Of course she did. My neighbor loved Emily, always said how lucky I was to have found such a nice girl. You need to leave. Emily stood up, eyes pleading. Just give me 5 minutes. Please. That's all I'm asking. Against my better judgment, I unlocked my door. Let her in. Told myself it was just to hear her out, to get closure, to finally move on. She walked into my apartment like she still belonged there, like the past month hadn't happened. Turned to face me, tears already forming. I miss you. Every single day. I wake up and the first thing I think about is how badly I messed up. How I threw away the best man I've ever known for someone who meant nothing. He meant nothing for 4 months. She flinched. I know. I know how that sounds. But it's true. He was a distraction. A mistake. You're real. What we had was real. Was. Past tense. Can be. Present tense. Future tense. Whatever tense you want, as long as I'm in it. She stepped closer, tried to touch my face. I still love you, Jamal. I never stopped. And for a second, just a second, I almost believed her. Almost let her back in. Because God, I wanted to. Wanted to believe people could change, that mistakes could be forgiven, that love could survive betrayal. But then I remembered the photo. Brandon's arm around her. The 4 months of lies. The way she'd blamed me for her cheating. The caption about nobody loving me like she did. No. What? No, Emily. You don't love me. You love the idea of me. The successful black boyfriend you can show off. The redemption arc where you fix your mistake and we live happily ever after. But you don't love me. Because if you did, you never would have done what you did. That's not fair. People make mistakes. Mistakes are forgetting to text back. Mistakes are snapping at someone when you're tired. For months of sleeping with another man while planning a future with me? That's not a mistake. That's a choice. A series of choices. Every time you lied to my face, every time you let me believe we were solid, every time you posted about us online while you were betraying me, that was a choice. She was crying for real now, mascara running down her face. So that's it? You're just going to throw away 2 years? You threw them away. I'm just accepting it. Fine. You know what? Fine. You want to be stubborn? You want to play the victim? Go ahead. But don't come crying to me when you realize what you lost. Don't come back when you see me with someone better, someone who actually appreciates me, someone who doesn't work all the time and actually makes me feel special. There she was. The real Emily. The one who showed up when she didn't get her way. Get out. You're going to regret this. The only thing I regret is not seeing who you really were sooner. Now get out of my apartment before I call the police. She left, slamming the door behind her, screaming obscenities in the hallway. Mrs. Patterson probably heard the whole thing. I didn't care anymore. I sat on my couch, head in my hands, shaking. That could have gone better. Could have been more dignified. But at least it was done. At least she knew where I stood. Tyler called an hour later. Heard Emily just left your place. You good? Yeah. I'm good. It's over. For real this time. Good. Because I got something to show you. Something you need to see before you decide your next move. What is it? Just meet me at my place. Trust me. I drove to Tyler's apartment, mind racing. When I got there, he had his laptop open, a serious look on his face. You know how I've been doing some digging? Trying to find out more about this Brandon dude. Yeah. Well, I found some stuff. Stuff that's gonna make you real mad. But also, stuff that gives us leverage. He turned the laptop toward me. On the screen were Facebook messages. Between Emily and Brandon. Going back 6 months, not 4. Messages that were explicit. Detailed. Talking about me like I was a joke. A placeholder until something better came along. My hands clenched into fists. Keep scrolling. There was more. Photos I'd never seen. Messages to her friends about how I was good for now but not long-term material. Screenshots of her complaining to Brandon about my neighborhood, my family, my background. Everything she'd pretended not to care about, she'd been mocking behind my back. But the worst part? The thing that made my vision go red? She'd been planning to break up with me. Was just waiting until after I helped her land a promotion at her dad's firm by doing free marketing work for them. She'd been using me. The whole time. Tyler put a hand on my shoulder. I know this hurts. But now you know the truth. All of it. And here's what I'm thinking. We've been playing small. Little petty revenges that barely scratch the surface. But what if we went bigger? What if we showed everyone who she really is? I looked at him. What do you have in mind? He smiled. Something that'll make move number for the one everyone talks about. The one she never sees coming. The one that changes everything. And hey, if you're listening and feeling this story already, you might as well subscribe. Don't be shy, join us. Because what comes next? It's the nuclear option. The move that blew up Emily's entire world. And I don't regret it one bit. Revenge move number 4 was surgical. Calculated. The kind of move that required patience, planning, and perfect timing. Tyler and I spent 2 weeks putting all the pieces in place, making sure every detail was airtight, every piece of evidence undeniable. See, Emily came from a very specific kind of family. Conservative. Traditional. The type that cared deeply about reputation, appearances, and what the neighbors thought. Her father, Richard, had built his real estate empire on handshake deals and his sterling reputation in the community. Her mother, Catherine, sat on the board of 3 charities and hosted an annual gala that was the social event of the season. Image was everything to them. So that's where we hit her. We started with Brandon's wife. Her name was Jessica, and Tyler found her through some basic social media stalking. She had no idea her husband was cheating. Posted happy family photos every week. 2 kids, a golden retriever, a house in the suburbs with a white picket fence. The whole American dream package. Tyler created an anonymous email account. We drafted a message, careful and precise, with just enough information to make her curious but not so much that she'd dismiss it as spam. We attached screenshots of the messages between Brandon and Emily. Not the explicit ones, not yet. Just enough to prove the affair was real. We included dates, times, locations. Made it impossible to deny. Then we waited. 3 days later, Tyler was monitoring Brandon's social media when suddenly all his accounts went dark. Profile pictures changed. Relationship status disappeared. The man had gone into crisis mode. Phase 1 complete. But we weren't done. Not even close. Next was Emily's workplace. Her father's firm. Richard ran a tight ship. Zero tolerance for scandals, for behavior that could damage the company's reputation. He'd fired people for less than what Emily had been doing. Tyler and I knew that if we could prove she'd been having an affair with a married colleague, especially one in a position of power over company deals, it would be a problem. So we compiled everything. Every message. Every photo. Every lie Emily had told. We organized it into a clean, professional document. No commentary. No editorializing. Just facts, timestamps, and evidence. Then Tyler, using his marketing expertise, found the email addresses of every board member at Richard's firm, including Richard himself. The subject line was simple: inappropriate relationship between employees, evidence attached. We sent it at 9 p.m. on a Sunday night. The kind of time when important people check their emails before the work week starts. By Monday morning, Emily's entire world was on fire. Tyler showed me the fallout through social media. Emily's Instagram stories, usually perfectly curated content about brunch and fashion, were now frantic posts about privacy violations and harassment. Her friends were commenting, confused, asking what was going on. Some were already distancing themselves. Then came the call I'd been waiting for. Not to me, but Tyler overheard it through mutual connections. Richard had called Emily into his office first thing Monday morning. The meeting lasted 2 hours. When she came out, she was crying. By end of business that day, she'd been placed on indefinite leave pending an investigation. Brandon? Fired immediately. His wife had apparently shown up at the office that morning, making a scene in the lobby. Security had to escort her out. The whole company was buzzing about it. But here's the thing that made move number 4 truly savage. The thing nobody saw coming. The thing that elevated this from petty revenge to complete destruction. Emily had been up for a major promotion. VP of Development. A position that would have put her on track to eventually take over her father's company. She'd been working toward it for 2 years, networking, schmoozing, doing everything right professionally even while her personal life was a mess. The promotion was supposed to be announced that week. Instead, it went to someone else. And the reason why leaked through the office gossip chain. The board couldn't promote someone who'd engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a married colleague. Couldn't risk the liability. Couldn't have someone with that kind of judgment in a leadership position. Emily had lost everything in 72 hours. Her reputation. Her relationship. Her career trajectory. And it was all public. All documented. All undeniable. Tyler and I celebrated quietly. No big party. No gloating. Just a sense of justice served. She'd played with my heart, with my life, with my dignity. Now she knew how it felt to lose everything. But Emily wasn't going down without a fight. Within a week, she'd crafted a counter-narrative. Posted a long statement on social media about being the victim of a smear campaign. About how a jealous ex-boyfriend had fabricated evidence to destroy her life. About how she was being targeted because she was a woman in a male-dominated industry. She never mentioned my name. Didn't have to. Anyone who knew us could read between the lines. And some people believed her. Suddenly my phone was blowing up. Old college friends asking if I'd really done what Emily was claiming. Business contacts subtly distancing themselves. Someone even left a 1-star review on my company's website saying I was vindictive and untrustworthy. Emily had weaponized victimhood. Made herself the sympathetic figure. The woman scorned by an angry black man who couldn't handle rejection. The racial undertones weren't subtle. She was playing into every stereotype about black men being aggressive, vengeful, dangerous. And in certain circles, it was working. I lost 2 clients that week. Both citing concerns about working with someone involved in drama. One even said they needed to protect their brand image. Translation, they didn't want to be associated with the angry black guy who'd allegedly ruined a white woman's career. That's when the doubt started creeping in. Had I gone too far? Had I let my anger turn me into the villain she was claiming I was? Tyler kept telling me I'd done nothing wrong, that I'd simply told the truth, but it didn't feel that way when I was watching my business suffer. Before we go on, quick question. Are you subscribed? If not, go ahead and fix that for me. I promise I'll keep the stories coming. Because what happens next, you need to see it through. Aisha was furious when she found out what I'd done. Showed up at my apartment one evening, arms crossed, that look on her face that meant I was about to get red for filth. What were you thinking? You don't play with white women like that. You know how this game works. She can spin this any way she wants and you're the one who ends up looking like the bad guy. She lied. She cheated. She used me. Was I supposed to just take it? Yes. Because that's how you survive. You walk away. You rebuild. You don't give them ammunition to destroy you. Now she's out here playing victim and you're losing clients. Was it worth it? I didn't have an answer for her. The next 2 weeks were brutal. Emily doubled down on her narrative. Posted about seeking therapy for the trauma of being stalked and harassed by an ex. Her friends rallied around her, sharing her posts, adding their own stories about toxic exes and emotional abuse. I wanted to respond. Wanted to show everyone the evidence, prove that I wasn't lying, that she was the one rewriting history. But Tyler advised against it. You respond, you look defensive. You stay quiet, you look guilty. It's a lose-lose. Just keep your head down and let it blow over. But it wasn't blowing over. It was getting worse. Someone leaked my address online. I started getting threatening messages. Nothing I could take to the police, just vague warnings about karma and justice. My Instagram comments became a war zone. Half the people supporting me, half calling me every name in the book. My business partner, a white guy named Chris who'd been mostly silent through all of this, pulled me aside one day. Dude, I think you need to address this. Put out a statement or something. It's affecting the company. What do you want me to say? I don't know. Apologize? Clarify? Something to make this go away. Apologize for what? For telling the truth? Chris sighed. Look, I'm not saying she was right to cheat. But going scorched earth like this? Making it public? That's extreme, man. And now we're all paying for it. So you think I should have just let her get away with it? I think you should have handled it privately. Like an adult. I walked out of that meeting ready to quit my own company. The one I'd built from nothing. Because apparently standing up for myself, as a black man, was too aggressive. Too much. Too scary for white people who wanted me to just take the disrespect and smile. That night, I sat in my apartment alone, drink in hand, wondering if Emily had one after all. She'd cheated, lied, used me, and somehow I was the bad guy. She'd lost a promotion but kept her job, her family, her support system. I was losing clients, friends, my peace of mind. Maybe Aisha was right. Maybe I'd played this all wrong. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You think you destroyed me? You just made yourself unemployable. Nobody's going to want to work with an angry black man with a vendetta. Enjoy your little revenge. I'll enjoy watching you fail. Emily. Had to be. She'd gotten a new number just to twist the knife. I threw my phone across the room. Watched it hit the wall and crack. Didn't even care. This was supposed to feel good. Supposed to feel like justice. Instead, I felt empty. Hollow. Like I'd won the battle but lost something essential in the process. The next month was the lowest point of my entire life. Lower than growing up poor. Lower than watching my mom struggle. Lower than any struggle I'd faced building my business. Because this time, I couldn't hustle my way out. Couldn't work harder or smarter. The damage was done and it was spreading like cancer. 3 more clients dropped us. Chris started talking about bringing in new partners, restructuring the company, maybe pivoting our brand. Translation: pushing me out. The thing I built was being taken from me because I dared to fight back against a woman who'd wronged me. Tyler tried to keep my spirits up, but even he was running out of optimism. We'd go to the gym, hit the weights, and he'd try to crack jokes like old times. But the jokes fell flat. Everything felt flat. My sleep was wrecked. When I did manage to pass out, I'd wake up in cold sweats, heart racing, dreaming about losing everything. The business. My reputation. My future. Some nights I'd just lie there staring at the ceiling until sunrise, replaying every decision, wondering where I'd gone wrong. The worst part was the isolation. Friends who'd been around for years suddenly had no time. Networking events became minefields where people would recognize me, whisper, avoid eye contact. I went from being a rising entrepreneur everyone wanted to know to a cautionary tale about letting emotions ruin your career. Emily, meanwhile, was thriving in her victim role. She'd started a blog about surviving toxic relationships. Posted inspirational quotes about healing and growth. Her follower count was growing. People were eating it up. The brave white woman who'd escaped an abusive black boyfriend and was now empowering others to leave toxic situations. None of it was true. But truth didn't matter when the lie was more compelling. I started drinking more than I should. Nothing crazy, not falling down drunk, just enough to numb the constant anxiety. Enough to sleep for a few hours without the nightmares. Tyler noticed, tried to talk to me about it. I brushed him off. I'm fine. You're not fine. You're depressed, bro. You need to talk to someone. I'm handling it. But I wasn't. I was drowning. Work became mechanical. Show up, do the tasks, avoid Chris and his pointed questions about when things were going to stabilize. Go home. Drink. Sleep. Repeat. The passion I'd had for building something meaningful was gone, replaced by grim determination to just survive another day. Aisha showed up one Saturday morning, used her key to let herself in, and found me still in bed at noon. Unwashed dishes in the sink. Laundry piled up. Empty bottles on the counter. Get up. Leave me alone. She ripped the covers off me. Get up. You're showering, eating, and then we're talking. I'm not a child. Then stop acting like one. I didn't watch you claw your way out of West Baltimore just to watch you throw it all away over some girl. She's not just some girl. She destroyed everything. No, baby brother. You're destroying everything. She hurt you, yes. But you're the one letting it consume you. You're the one hiding. You're the one giving up. What am I supposed to do, Aisha? Every time I fight back, it makes things worse. Every time I try to defend myself, I'm the aggressive black man. I can't win. She sat down on the edge of my bed, voice softer now. You're right. You can't win that fight. So stop fighting it. Stop trying to make people see the truth. The ones who matter already know. The ones who don't, never will. You keep chasing their approval, you'll kill yourself trying. Then what do? You let it go. You focus on rebuilding. You remember who you are. Who you were before her. The strong, brilliant, ambitious man who didn't need anyone's validation to know his worth. But I felt validated with her. Felt like I'd made it. That's the problem. You tied your worth to her acceptance. But your worth was always there. You just forgot. Her words hit different than Tyler's encouragement or Chris's criticisms. Maybe because she'd known me longest. Seen me at my lowest and highest. Or maybe because I was finally ready to hear it. After she left, I took a long shower. Actually looked at myself in the mirror for the first time in weeks. I looked rough. Weight loss making my face gaunt. Dark circles under my eyes. Beard unkempt. This wasn't me. This wasn't the man who'd fought his way out of poverty and built something from nothing. Emily had taken enough from me. I wasn't giving her my dignity too. I called Tyler. Told him I was done spiraling. Done hiding. Done letting her narrative define me. We needed a new plan. Not revenge this time. Redemption. He came over that night. We mapped it out. First, focus on the business. Win back clients through excellent work, not explanations or excuses. Second, rebuild my public image, not by fighting Emily's lies but by showing who I really was through actions. Third, take care of myself. Gym, therapy, healthy habits. Be the man I'd been working to become before she derailed me. And fourth? Find happiness that had nothing to do with her. Move on. Really move on. If you're watching this and haven't subscribed yet, don't break my heart like that. Tap the button. Let's keep growing together. Because what I'm about to tell you next is the comeback story you didn't know you needed. The next morning, I went to therapy. First time in my life. Found a black male therapist who specialized in trauma and relationship issues. It was hard, sitting in that office, admitting I wasn't okay, unpacking all the pain I'd been carrying. But it was necessary. He helped me see patterns I'd been blind to. How I'd been seeking validation through relationships because I'd never felt good enough. How Emily had exploited that, made herself essential to my sense of worth. How my revenge, while justified in my anger, had been about proving I mattered rather than healing from the hurt. You can't get revenge and peace, he told me. You have to choose which one you want more. I chose peace. Started working on myself in ways I'd neglected. Read books about healing and growth. Journaled about my feelings instead of bottling them up. Reconnected with old friends I'd pushed away. Went to church with my moms, something I hadn't done since I was a kid. Slowly, the fog started lifting. At work, I put my head down and executed. Poured myself into our existing clients, delivering results that exceeded expectations. Word started spreading. The drama faded into background noise as our actual work spoke for itself. New leads came in. Chris stopped looking at me like I was a liability and started remembering why we'd partnered in the first place. One evening, about 6 weeks into my recovery, I was leaving the office when I ran into someone. Literally. Bumped right into her coming around the corner, papers flying everywhere. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I bent down to help gather the scattered documents, looked up, and froze. She was beautiful. Not in the polished, magazine cover way Emily had been beautiful. This was something deeper. Natural. A black woman with locks pulled back in a ponytail, warm brown eyes, a smile that made my chest tight in a way I hadn't felt in months. It's okay, she said, laughing. I should watch where I'm going. No, that was totally my fault. I wasn't paying attention. We stood up, arms full of papers, and she extended her hand. I'm Nola. Nola Reese. Jamal. Jamal Wright. Her eyes lit up with recognition. Wait, you own that digital marketing agency, right? I've heard great things about your work. You have? Yeah, I'm actually looking for someone to help with a rebrand for my nonprofit. We work with inner-city youth, providing mentorship and resources. It's not a huge budget, but if you're interested. I'm very interested. We exchanged information. Set up a meeting for later that week. As she walked away, I caught myself smiling. Really smiling. For the first time since Emily, I felt something other than anger or pain. Hope. Meeting Nola changed everything. Not in a she saved me kind of way. I was already saving myself. But she reminded me what healthy connection felt like. What it meant to be with someone who saw me, the real me, and didn't try to change it. Our first meeting was supposed to be about business. We met at a coffee shop, sat down with her nonprofit's branding materials, and talked strategy for maybe 20 minutes before the conversation shifted to something deeper. She asked about my background, my story, and I found myself opening up in ways I hadn't with anyone except my therapist. She didn't judge. Didn't flinch when I mentioned growing up in West Baltimore or the struggles my family faced. Instead, she shared her own story. Raised by a single mom in Atlanta. First in her family to go to college. Worked 3 jobs to start her nonprofit because she wanted to give back to communities like the one she came from. We had so much in common. Not just circumstances but values. Drive. Purpose. A genuine desire to lift others up while building something meaningful. You know what's funny, she said, stirring her coffee. I almost didn't reach out to you. I'd heard some stuff floating around about drama with an ex, people saying you were problematic. But then I looked at your actual work, read testimonials from your clients, and I thought, none of this matches. So I figured I'd judge for myself. And I'm glad I did. You're nothing like what people were saying. You're thoughtful. Driven. Kind. Real. That woman must have been crazy to mess up what she had. I appreciated that. But I'm trying not to define myself by what she did or didn't do anymore. Trying to just be me, you know? Nola smiled. That's growth. Most people stay stuck in victim mode or revenge mode. Moving toward peace? That takes real strength. We ended up talking for 3 hours. Long past when the coffee shop staff started cleaning up around us. When we finally parted ways, she gave me a hug. Not a romantic thing, just genuine human warmth. But it stirred something in me I thought Emily had killed. Over the next few weeks, Nola and I grew closer. We'd meet for coffee, go for walks, talk about everything from business to philosophy to our favorite childhood memories. She made me laugh in a way I hadn't in months. Made me feel seen without having to perform or prove anything. Tyler noticed the change immediately. Bro, you're glowing. Like, literally. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. It's not what I'm doing. It's who I'm becoming. And yeah, meeting Nola hasn't hurt. Oh? Tell me about this Nola. She's different, man. She's real. No games. No pretense. Just authentic in a way that makes everyone around her want to be better. And you're interested? I'm terrified, I admitted. What if I mess it up? What if I'm still too damaged from Emily? What if I hurt her? Tyler put his hand on my shoulder. Or what if she's exactly what you need? What if this is the universe giving you a second chance at something real? Don't let fear of the past rob you of the future. He was right. So I leaned in. Asked Nola on an actual date. Not a business meeting or casual coffee. A real date. She said yes without hesitation. We went to this little Ethiopian restaurant in her neighborhood, ate with our hands, laughed about how messy it was, talked until they literally turned the lights off on us. At the end of the night, walking her to her car, I was nervous in a way I hadn't been since I was a teenager. I had a really great time tonight, she said. Me too. Can we do this again? I'd like that. She stood on her toes and kissed me. Soft. Sweet. No expectations. Just genuine affection. And in that moment, I realized something profound. Emily had never kissed me like that. With Emily, physical intimacy was always performative. Always had an edge of neediness or validation seeking. This was different. This was two whole people choosing to connect. And hey, while you're here, if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love to have you as part of the family. Go on, I'll wait. Because this next part, where everything comes together, you don't want to miss. Dating Nola reminded me who I'd been before Emily. The confident, ambitious man who knew his worth. She built me up without tearing anyone else down. Encouraged my dreams without making them about her. Supported my healing without trying to fix me. But I still had unfinished business. Revenge moves 5, 6, and 7 weren't about hurting Emily anymore. They were about reclaiming my narrative and moving forward. Revenge move number 5 was simple. A glow up. Not just physical, though the gym gains were definitely showing. But a complete life upgrade. New apartment, bigger and better. New wardrobe, professional but authentic to my style. New website for my business showcasing all our wins and growth. And a complete social media rebrand. I started posting again. Not about drama or Emily or the past. Just my life. My work. My wins. Photos of me and Tyler at industry events. Videos of me speaking at startup conferences. Content about overcoming adversity and building generational wealth. My follow count started growing. Real engagement from people inspired by the journey. Emily saw it. I know because mutual friends told me she'd been stalking my profiles, watching me thrive without her. It must have killed her to see me happy, successful, glowing up while she was still dealing with the fallout from the affair scandal. Revenge move number 6 was about power. Legal and financial power. See, when Emily and I were together, I'd done free marketing work for her dad's firm. Hours and hours of strategy, content creation, social media management. Never charged them a dime because I was dating Emily and trying to impress her family. Big mistake. So I sent them an invoice. A very detailed, very professional invoice for every hour of work I'd done. Market rate. With interest. Totaling just over $73,000. They ignored it. So I sent it again, this time with a letter from a lawyer Tyler helped me find. Still ignored it. So we filed a formal claim. Richard's firm tried to settle quietly. Offered me $20,000 to make it go away. I declined. This wasn't about money. It was about principle. About showing them they couldn't use me and discard me without consequences. We ended up in mediation. Sitting across from Richard and his lawyers, I laid out everything. The work I'd done. The value I'd provided. The way they'd benefited from my labor while treating me as less than because of who I was dating and what I looked like. Richard's face was stone, but I could see the calculations behind his eyes. A lawsuit would mean discovery. Would mean all of Emily's dirty laundry getting aired in court. Would mean more damage to his firm's reputation. They settled for $55,000. Tyler and I split it. Used his half to invest back in our business. I used mine to pay off my mom's mortgage. The look on her face when I handed her those papers, when I told her she'd never have to worry about losing her home again, was worth more than any revenge against Emily. But revenge move number 7 was the ultimate power play. The one that tied everything together. The one that showed Emily and everyone watching that I hadn't just survived her betrayal. I'd transcended it. I proposed to Nola. We'd only been dating for 4 months, but when you know, you know. And I knew. Knew she was my peace. My partner. My future. Knew that what I'd thought was love with Emily was actually just codependency and validation seeking. This was real love. The kind that builds you up and challenges you and makes you better. I proposed at her nonprofit's annual gala, in front of hundreds of people who'd watched me rebuild my life. Got down on one knee during her speech about perseverance and second chances. She cried. Said yes. The place erupted. And yes, I posted about it. Photos of us. Video of the proposal. A long caption about finding love after heartbreak, about how the right person makes everything easy that the wrong person made hard, about how grateful I was to have found my queen. It went viral. Thousands of likes. Hundreds of comments. News blogs picked it up, celebrating our love story. The local boy makes good narrative. I got calls from old contacts congratulating me. New business opportunities flooded in. And Emily saw all of it. The full impact of all 7 savage moves hit Emily like a tsunami. While I was building a life with Nola, planning our future, growing my business beyond anything I'd imagined, Emily's world was completely collapsing. She'd been officially demoted at her father's firm. Not just passed over for promotion but actually moved to a lower position with less responsibility and a pay cut. Richard had to do something to save face with the board, show them he wasn't playing favorites just because she was his daughter. The optics of keeping her in a prominent role after the scandal were too risky. Her relationship with Brandon was, obviously, over. His divorce was finalized and messy. Jessica took him for everything. The kids. The house. Most of his assets. He'd been forced to leave the city entirely, relocating to some small town where nobody knew about the scandal. Last I heard, he was working a job making a fraction of what he used to earn. Emily's social circle had fractured. Some friends stuck by her, believed her version of events. But many quietly distanced themselves. The blog she'd started about surviving toxic relationships fizzled out after a few posts. People started questioning her narrative when they saw me thriving, happy, clearly not the monster she'd painted me as. Her Instagram following had grown initially, but then the tide turned. People started calling her out in the comments. Pointing out inconsistencies in her story. Asking why, if I was so terrible, I'd never responded or defended myself publicly. Asking why all my ex-colleagues and clients spoke highly of me while her own co-workers had stories about her being difficult and entitled. The court of public opinion is brutal. And it had ruled against her. 3 months after I proposed to Nola, Tyler called me with news. You're not gonna believe this. Emily just showed up at my job. Asking about you. What? Why? She wants to talk to you. Says it's urgent. Says she needs closure. I haven't talked to her in almost a year. What could she possibly want now? I don't know, but she looked rough, man. Like, really rough. I almost felt bad for her. Almost. Part of me wanted to ignore it. I was happy. My life was good. Why risk that by opening old wounds? But another part of me, the part that still had questions, that still needed to face her one final time, knew this was necessary. So I agreed to meet her. One time. One conversation. Then done forever. We met at the same park where I'd ended things with her a year ago. Full circle. She was already there when I arrived, sitting on the same bench, and Tyler was right. She looked rough. Hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. No makeup. Clothes that looked like she'd grabbed whatever was clean. This wasn't the put-together Emily I'd known. This was someone who'd been broken. For a second, I felt pity. Then I remembered everything she'd done. You wanted to talk. I'm here. Make it quick. She looked up at me, eyes red from crying. I'm sorry. For everything. For cheating. For lying. For trying to destroy you when you exposed me. For everything. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say, Emily? That I forgive you? That I understand? That we can be friends? What's the goal here? I want you to know that you were right. About everything. I didn't love you the way you deserved. I did use you. I did look down on you and your background, even though I tried to pretend I didn't. And when you stood up for yourself, I tried to ruin you because I couldn't handle the consequences of my own actions. I sat down next to her, not close, but close enough to really see her face. Why are you telling me this now? Because I lost everything. My job, my reputation, most of my friends. My father barely speaks to me. My mother looks at me like she doesn't know who I am. And watching you build this beautiful life with someone who actually deserves you, it made me realize something. What? That I was the villain in our story. Not you. I spent so long trying to make you the bad guy that I never stopped to look at what I'd done. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Tears were streaming down her face now. Real tears. Not the manipulative crying she'd done before. This was genuine remorse. I felt nothing. No anger. No satisfaction. No vindication. Just emptiness where she used to live in my head. I appreciate the apology. I do. But it doesn't change anything. You hurt me in ways I'm still healing from. You tried to destroy my career, my reputation, everything I'd built. And you did it all to avoid accountability for your own choices. I know. So why should I forgive you? Emily looked at me, really looked at me, maybe for the first time ever. You shouldn't. I don't deserve it. I just needed you to know that I know. That I see it now. That you were always too good for me, and I was too stupid and selfish to appreciate what I had. She reached into her purse, pulled out something. A flash drive. This is everything. Every message, every photo, every piece of evidence you used against me. I want you to delete it. Not for me. But for you. So you can move on completely. So you don't carry this weight anymore. I took the flash drive, turned it over in my hands. You know what the irony is? I haven't thought about you in months. Haven't checked your social media. Haven't asked about you. I moved on without needing closure or an apology. I moved on because I chose to. Then why did you come today? Because you deserve to say your piece. And I deserve to hear it. But that doesn't mean we're good. That doesn't mean I forget. It just means I'm choosing, one last time, to be the bigger person. I stood up to leave. Emily grabbed my arm, desperate. Wait. Can I ask you one thing? What? Are you happy? With her? With Nola? I smiled, thinking about Nola. About her laugh. Her warmth. The way she understood me without me having to explain. About how easy everything was with her compared to the constant struggle with Emily. Happier than I've ever been. Emily's face crumpled. Good. That's good. You deserve that. I started walking away. But something made me turn back. One last thing, Emily. The 7 moves? They weren't just about hurting you. They were about reclaiming myself. About showing everyone, including me, that I won't accept being disrespected. That I have standards and boundaries. That I matter. So yeah, I exposed you. I got my money. I glowed up. I found real love. And I'd do it all again. I understand. And one more thing? Thank you. For what? For showing me exactly what I don't want. What I won't tolerate. What I refuse to settle for. You did me a favor by cheating. Because if you hadn't, I might have wasted years trying to make it work with someone who never truly valued me. So thank you. Seriously. I walked away for the final time. Didn't look back. Didn't need to. That chapter was closed. That evening, Nola and I were having dinner at our favorite spot. She could tell something was on my mind. You okay, baby? Yeah. I'm good. Better than good, actually. I just had closure with something I didn't know I needed. Emily? I nodded. She apologized. Really apologized. And you know what? It felt good to hear, but it didn't change anything. I'm over it. Over her. Over all of it. Nola reached across the table, took my hand. I'm proud of you. For facing that. For choosing peace. For being the man you are. I'm proud of me too. And I'm grateful. For you. For this. For the life we're building. She smiled that smile that made my chest tight in the best way. Speaking of building our life, I have news. Good news or bad news. Depends on how you feel about having a little one running around in about 7 months. My brain short-circuited. Wait. Are you saying? I'm pregnant, Jamal. We're going to be parents. I jumped up, ran around the table, pulled her into my arms. People in the restaurant started clapping. The staff brought out champagne on the house. It was perfect. That night, lying in bed with Nola curled up next to me, her hand on her still flat belly, I reflected on everything that had happened. The betrayal. The pain. The revenge. The healing. The growth. The love. Emily thought she was the best thing that ever happened to me. But the truth was, she was the worst thing that led to the best thing. She broke me down so I could rebuild myself stronger. She showed me what I didn't want so I could recognize what I needed when it appeared. The 7 savage moves weren't just about revenge. They were about evolution. About refusing to be a victim. About taking control of my narrative and my life. About showing the world and myself that Jamal Wright from West Baltimore was never going to be counted out. Would I do it all again? In a heartbeat. Not because I enjoyed hurting Emily, but because I refused to let her betrayal define me. I turned my pain into power. My anger into ambition. My heartbreak into a happily ever after. And that, more than anything else, was the ultimate revenge. Living well. Loving deeply. Building generationally. Thriving despite everything she'd done to break me. Emily lost her promotion. Her reputation. Her peace of mind. But I lost nothing. I gained everything. A partner who truly loves me. A child on the way. A thriving business. Self-respect. Peace. Sometimes the person who walks away simply makes space for the life you deserved all along. 6 months later, my life looked nothing like it had during those dark days after Emily's betrayal. It looked better than I'd ever dreamed possible. Nola and I got married in a small ceremony surrounded by the people who truly mattered. My mom's, crying happy tears in the front row. Aisha as my best woman, giving a speech that had everyone laughing and crying at the same time. Tyler as my best man, cracking jokes about how he'd always known I'd end up with someone way out of my league. The ceremony was in Nola's non-profit community center, decorated simply but beautifully. No pretense. No performance for social media. Just genuine love celebrated by genuine people. We wrote our own vows. Mine focused on partnership, growth, and building something real. Hers made me cry when she promised to always see me, all of me, and love every part. We didn't have a honeymoon right away. Nola was 5 months pregnant and tired easily. Plus, we were both deep in work we loved. My business had tripled in size. We'd hired for new employees, moved into a real office space, and landed contracts with major brands who valued our authentic approach to marketing. Chris and I had worked through our issues. He'd apologized for doubting me during the Emily drama, admitted he'd let fear cloud his judgment. We were stronger partners now, built on mutual respect and shared vision. The company we'd almost lost was now worth more than either of us had imagined possible. Tyler had been promoted to creative director. Finally getting paid what he was worth. He'd also started dating someone, a woman named Keisha who worked in education and matched his energy perfectly. We'd double date sometimes, the four of us talking until late about dreams and plans and the future we were building. Aisha was proud of me in a way that meant everything. She'd pull me aside at family dinners and just say, "You did it. You really did it. Made it out and made something of yourself." Moms would be so proud. And then she'd correct herself. Moms is so proud. Present tense. Because my moms was still here, still working but less now that I could help financially, still my biggest cheerleader. The apartment Nola and I had moved into was in a good neighborhood. Safe. Clean. With a second bedroom we were converting into a nursery. We'd painted it yellow, gender neutral because we wanted to be surprised. Filled it with books and toys and dreams for our daughter or son who'd grow up knowing they were loved, wanted, valued. Some nights I'd stand in that nursery doorway, hand on Nola's growing belly, and just feel overwhelmed with gratitude. This was what I'd been working toward my whole life. Not wealth for wealth's sake, but security. Legacy. Family. Love. My social media had become something I actually enjoyed. No more performing or proving. Just sharing my journey authentically. Posts about fatherhood preparation. Business wins. Mental health. Growth. The community I'd built was real, engaged, supportive. People would message me their own stories of heartbreak and comeback, and I'd respond when I could, offer encouragement, remind them that pain wasn't permanent. Emily had become a footnote in my story. Not the main character she'd tried to make herself. Just a chapter that taught me valuable lessons. I didn't hate her anymore. Didn't think about her much at all. When mutual acquaintances would bring her up, trying to get gossip or stir drama, I'd just say, "I wish her well," and change the subject. Because I meant it. I genuinely hoped she'd learned from what happened. Hoped she'd grown. Hoped she'd found some peace. Her life wasn't my concern anymore. One afternoon, I was at a coffee shop working on a presentation when someone approached my table. I looked up, ready to do the polite "I'm busy" smile, and froze. It was Richard. Emily's father. He looked older than I remembered. Tired. He gestured to the empty chair across from me. "May I?" I nodded, curious despite myself. He sat down, cleared his throat. "I wanted to apologize. For how we treated you. For how my daughter treated you. For the assumptions I made about who you were based on where you came from." I didn't know what to say, so I just listened. "When Emily first brought you around, I'll be honest, I didn't think you were good enough for her. I thought you were using her, trying to get access to our money and connections. I was wrong. You were the best thing that ever happened to her, and she threw it away because she'd been raised to think she deserved the world without having to work for it." He paused, eyes distant. The affair, the scandal, it humbled us all. Made me look at the values I'd instilled in my daughter and realize I'd failed her. I raised her to believe image mattered more than character. That appearances were more important than integrity. And when she internalized those lessons, when she acted on them, it destroyed her life. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you deserved better than how we treated you. And because I wanted you to know that the lawsuit, the money, I'm glad you pursued it. You had every right. My firm used your labor and your talent, and we should have compensated you appropriately regardless of your relationship with my daughter. I appreciate you saying that." Richard stood to leave, then turned back. "I heard you're getting married. Having a baby. Building a successful business. I'm genuinely happy for you. You've made something of yourself through hard work and integrity. That's more than I can say for Emily right now. But I hope, one day, she'll learn from your example." After he left, I sat there for a long moment, processing. It felt like the universe was giving me closure from every angle. Like every loose end was being tied up. Like the story was completing itself in ways I couldn't have scripted. That evening, I told Nola about the encounter. She listened, head on my shoulder, hand rubbing her belly absent-mindedly. "How do you feel about it?" she asked. Grateful. Not for the apology, though that was nice. But grateful that I'm not angry anymore. That I can hear Richard talk about Emily and feel nothing but indifference. That's how I know I've really healed. You've done such incredible work on yourself. I'm proud of you. I couldn't have done it without you. She laughed. Yes, you could have. You were already doing it when we met. I just got to witness it. Got to be part of the next chapter. The best chapter, I said, kissing her forehead. Before I wrap this up, can I ask one more favor? If this story touched you, if it resonated, if you see yourself in any part of this journey, leave a comment below. Tell me your story. Tell me how you overcame betrayal or heartbreak or adversity. Tell me what your comeback looks like. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. Be part of this community where we share real stories about real life and real growth. 2 months later, Nola went into labor. It was 3 a.m, and I'd been asleep when she shook me awake. Baby, it's time. I jumped up, adrenaline coursing through my veins, suddenly wide awake. Grabbed the hospital bag we'd packed weeks ago. Helped her to the car. Drove to the hospital trying to stay calm while internally freaking out. The labor was long. 16 hours of Nola being a warrior while I held her hand and felt completely useless. Tyler and Aisha showed up around hour 8, waited in the lobby, sending encouraging texts. My moms came around hour 12, praying in the waiting room, probably driving everyone crazy with her nervous energy. When our daughter finally arrived, screaming and perfect and tiny, I cried. Full-on sobbed. Cut the cord with shaking hands. Watched the nurses clean her up and wrap her in a pink blanket. Held her for the first time and felt my heart expand in ways I didn't know were possible. She's perfect, Nola whispered, exhausted but glowing. She's everything, I agreed. We named her Amora. It means grace in Igbo. Because she was grace personified. Grace after pain. Grace after betrayal. Grace after the storm. Holding my daughter, looking at my wife, thinking about the life we'd built and the future ahead of us, I felt complete in a way I'd never felt with Emily. This was real. This was earned. This was mine. The 7 savage moves I'd made against Emily seemed so small now. So insignificant compared to the life I'd built in the aftermath. Yes, I'd exposed her affair. Yes, I'd reclaimed my dignity and my money. Yes, I'd shown her she couldn't break me. But the real victory wasn't in her downfall. It was in my rise. I'd become a father. A husband. A successful entrepreneur. A man who'd healed from his wounds instead of letting them fester. A man who'd chosen growth over bitterness. A man who'd built something beautiful from the ashes of heartbreak. That was the ultimate revenge. Not destruction, but creation. Not tearing her down, but building myself up so high she couldn't reach me even if she tried. Over the next few weeks, as Nola and I adjusted to life with a newborn, as we learned how to function on no sleep and endless love, I reflected on the entire journey. From that devastating photo at 2 a.m. to holding my daughter in the hospital. From rock bottom to higher than I'd ever been. The story could have ended differently. I could have stayed bitter. Could have let Emily's betrayal define me. Could have given up on love, on trust, on believing I deserved better. But I didn't. I chose differently. I chose to feel the pain fully instead of numbing it. I chose to stand up for myself instead of accepting disrespect. I chose to rebuild instead of staying broken. I chose to love again instead of closing my heart. I chose myself, over and over, until choosing myself became natural. And that's the message I want to leave you with, family. If you've been betrayed, hurt, used, discarded, I see you. I've been there. I know that pain. I know how it feels like you'll never recover, never trust again, never be whole again. But you will. If you choose to. If you do the work. If you refuse to let someone else's actions determine your worth. The person who cheated on you, who lied to you, who broke your heart. They don't get to write the ending to your story. You do. And you can write an ending so beautiful, so triumphant, so full of joy and love and success that the betrayal becomes just a plot point. Just the obstacle the hero overcame on the way to their destiny. I'm not special. I'm just a brother from Baltimore who refused to stay down. Who got knocked out but got back up swinging. Who turned pain into purpose and heartbreak into a happily ever after. If I can do it, you can too. So here's what I want you to do. First, if you're hurting right now, feel it. Don't run from it. Don't numb it. Feel every bit of that pain because it's valid and it matters and it's part of your story. Second, decide you're worth fighting for. Decide your peace matters. Decide your future is more important than your past. Third, take action. Whatever that looks like for you. Therapy. Boundaries. Cutting toxic people off. Pursuing your dreams. Building something new. Just move forward, even if it's just one small step at a time. Fourth, believe that better is coming. Not because you're optimistic or naive, but because you're going to create better. You're going to build it with your own hands. And finally, never let anyone make you feel like you're not enough. You are enough. You've always been enough. The right people will see that. The wrong people will reveal themselves. And when they do, you'll have the strength to walk away and keep walking toward everything you deserve. My daughter is 3 months old now. She's got my eyes and Nola's smile. She giggles when I make silly faces. Falls asleep on my chest while I work. She has no idea that her daddy almost gave up before she existed. That there was a time when he was so broken he couldn't see the light. But he found it. I found it. And now I get to be the father she deserves. The husband Nola deserves. The man I always wanted to be but didn't know how to become until I hit rock bottom and decided to climb. Emily? I genuinely don't know where she is or what she's doing. Haven't checked. Haven't asked. Haven't thought about her unless I'm telling this story. And even then, she's just a character. Not the villain anymore. Not the source of my pain. Just a person who taught me lessons I needed to learn. I hope she's doing well. I hope she's grown. I hope she's found some version of peace and happiness. Not for her sake, really, but for mine. Because hoping the best for the people who hurt you is the ultimate form of freedom. It means they no longer have power over you. It means you've truly moved on. So family, that's my story. 7 savage ways I got revenge on my cheating ex. But really, it's the story of how I found myself. How I reclaimed my power. How I built a life so good that the revenge became irrelevant compared to the joy. If you made it this far, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of this community. Thank you for your support. Drop a comment below telling me what resonated with you. Tell me your story. Tell me how you're overcoming or how you plan to overcome. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that button. Join the family. Let's keep building together. Let's keep growing together. Let's keep showing the world that our past doesn't define our future. Sometimes the person who walked away simply made space for the life you deserved all along. My name is Jamal Wright. I'm a husband, a father, an entrepreneur, and a survivor. And if I can leave you with one final thought, it's this. Your heartbreak is not your ending. It's your beginning. The question is, what are you going to build from here? I built a legacy. I built a family. I built a life worth living. Now it's your turn. Family, I'll see you in the next one. Stay blessed. Stay focused. And remember, you're stronger than whatever tried to break you. Peace. The end.